Hello everyone, and welcome back. I've got a secret. Because guess what? Your eyeshadow isn't really eyeshadow. It's blush, it's highlighter, it's lip color, it's brow definer, it is anything that you want it to be. And so today we're gonna talk about how to take even your shittiest eyeshadows and transform them into your 8 favorite looks across your face. So let's get started. I'm actually going to be taking an eyeshadow today that I'm not a fan of, and I will show you why. The Balm Voyage here by the Balm, which is a brand I actually really like, but I don't like this eyeshadow because it's not pigmented. And for those who don't know what the word pigmented means, it's how concentrated the color is in your product and how it shows up on your face. This shitty eyeshadow, and your shitty eyeshadow too, can do much more than you think it can, and makeup brands don't want you to know that because they want you to buy more of their products. As you may be able to see, or maybe not depending on how my camera is focusing, this is a pretty neutral shimmery shade, as I showed you with the swatch on my arm. If I were to just swipe, it's there, but it's really not a significant burst of color. We are going to dive into way 1 as the typical way that you would think of using eyeshadow right on your eyelid. I just want to give you some pointers to make sure that you are doing it to the max. If you haven't heard of primers, they're really awesome. They do make the shadow stay so much longer and show up so much better on your face. So I promise you, if you have nothing but your bare skin, what I'm going to show you today is going to be more than it's going to show up on your face. What beauty brands don't tell you, oftentimes you can just really lock it in with any type of moisture. So put some lotion on and that should do the trick too. Whether you're using a finger or a brush like me, I've got this e.l.f. concealer brush, which again, an example of how something that's labeled in one category can actually be used anywhere on your face. I like this motion, don't I? Here with our primer on, we are going to do a dabbing motion. This is the same whether you're using a brush or using your finger to make sure that as much of the product is patted onto the eye. I prefer to take a really fluffy brush and just kind of go shh, shh, shh. It blends everything in a very natural way. Now the other thing that you can do, which I'm going to show you on my other eyelid, is apply the product wet. One way that you can buy shadows is a cream. And the reason is that the moisture makes the shadow more pigmented on your skin. It's a really great way to take a shadow that isn't super pigmented, isn't showing up super well, and really make it pop. So I'm gonna take my brush here and I'm actually going to wet it for this application so you can see the difference. All right, we have a wet brush here. So I'm going to wet the product here. This half here has been wet. You will need to, if you want to apply the product dry, wait until it dries, but it's not going to hurt your product as long as you just kind of let it dry the traditional way. Apply this the same way. You can see right away, I mean, from the first touch on my face, it's a very concentrated amount. This eyeshadow is already a little bit shimmery. It really brings that luminescence out of the eyeshadow. So I am actually going to take a looser brush with some dry product and just tap it over. And you can kind of see the difference between the two sides. It does have a very smooth, even application here on my right side where I used, in your left, where I used the dry product. Whereas here, more pop and a more noticeable eye. It doesn't blend quite as well as your dry product. But with your eyes, go big or go home, am I right? And you can use whatever application works for you for that day, for that look. And next is a personal favorite of mine because I'm lazy and I don't like to pluck my eyebrows always. One super easy little trick that you can use to define your eyebrows is to put just a little bit of eyeshadow underneath that brow line. There are several hairs that I didn't pluck and I don't want you to look at them. So I'm going to reflect light off of them instead to cover them up and shift the focus to the line that structures my eyebrow. Now that eyeshadow brush that I just used would have been a great brush to use here, but I got it wet. I'm gonna use a substitute here, this Vera brush, which has a nice arch. So using my dry product here, because wet eyeshadow is a little less blendable, and usually I'm going to want to create a full eye look or just have it look more natural. This is a really great, and in my opinion, underrated way to use your eyeshadow to the max. And it really just helps define what is already a great eyebrow. And to make that line even more natural, since this is a shimmery shade, shimmery shades are great to reflect that light. I'm just gonna take this more fluffy brush to kind of blend here. Makes a lot of difference. One thing that I find about makeup, a lot of people, their definition of good in their mind is that I noticed it. Sometimes the point of makeup is just to be noticed. And for that reason, a little dab of eyeshadow in the corners is actually a really nice touch, and in my experience, gets me a lot of compliments. You can use your finger here, but I would like kind of a more precise application, so I'm just gonna dab some dry eyeshadow with this brush here that we used on the brows. I'm just going to kind of put it right around the corner of my eye. It's a really nice touch that kind of defines the eye as well. And I really like this subtle application here with the dry product, but I am gonna show you too how some wet product would look on the left side. Here's a little wet eyeshadow, and I only put a tiny bit of water on this because I didn't want to go crazy. You can see already how it really brings out the shimmer of the eyeshadow. You could leave it as is, but this is something that to me looks like the foundation of a more dramatic eye look. If we were gonna put some darker color in, some smoke on the corners, and there you have it for our difference. This for a lot of definition, and this for a really subtle, nice touch. So here's another secret for you all. One of the best highlighters in my opinion is cheap eyeshadow. Take your shittiest eyeshadow or buy a cheap one at the dollar store. Why? Because you don't want something super pigmented that's going to create a dramatic, harsh line on your cheek. Highlighters are supposed to highlight in a very subtle and brilliant way the places that you want to attract light to on your face. I'm going to use a very fluffy brush here. Notice there's not a whole lot of give to it. It doesn't have a lot of meat in the bristles. I'm going to take this cheap ass eyeshadow. So taking some dry product, I'm going to go ahead and highlight here at the top of my cheekbones to really define them and draw the light. And also what it's going to do is raise my cheekbone. So that is a very subtle, nice line that we've created there. And I want to go all the way here. You can even kind of create a little moon shape next to your eye. This C shape here just looks really nice and really draws up my cheekbone. I mean, just looking at the difference between the two sides right now, I feel like it makes a lot of a difference. A little bit on the tip of the nose. I'm gonna do a little dot with my finger where I want the visible tip to be. So I look very luminescent, very lively, and it really draws the light to the places on my face that I want you to look. This next application is unexpected, and for that reason, I really like it. We're gonna put a little bit of product on the lips. So what I have here, this is Meet Matte Hues by the Balm, and this comes in the shade of Charming. This is a personal favorite gloss of mine. It just stays on so freaking well. As you notice here, it's got a flat application. So what can I do with my eyeshadow? Since we have a shimmery product here, we can add a little bit of definition to lips that wasn't there before. I'm gonna take some dry product, and I'm gonna pucker up and kind of put it in the center. Kissy face. I look, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna apply some moisture over it. This is, to me, it's kind of like a mix of a chapstick and a lip gloss by Rimmel London. I'm just gonna blend it in. See, that's really nice. I feel like it makes the lip look bigger. It kind of draws your eye there, and it's that little something something. And it almost creates the illusion that we've used lip liner here. If you have a matte look and want something with a little bit of more definition on your lips, that this is a good place to start. Now, there are infinite ways to use eyeshadow on your face. You can use it off your face. Body shadow. Do unlimited things with it if you just use a little bit of creativity. But I hope that this was a good starter for you and that it inspired you to think outside the box, think outside the palette, think outside the jar, whatever the fuck you have your eyeshadow in. These looks that we've created today are all with a shimmery eyeshadow, as you know, but there's a lot that you can do with matte eyeshadows as well. Perhaps that will be another video. I'm excited to see all of the creative looks that you decide to try. I would love if you would reply with some looks that you tried in the comments and let me know how it's going. And if you have any other questions or suggestions, I would love to hear from you too. So thank you again for watching. And if you found this helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe for even more makeup tutorials and hacks. We're gonna go coronaviral Thank you so much for watching. Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome back. All over your face. Today we're going to do a makeup tutorial. Obviously. So put some... Hold on. Endless. When did this become ASMR? I just did it. Guys, after filming, my boyfriend brought me a cookie.